Morgan, thank you for joining us. I interviewed your former boss, Secretary Pompeo, last night on this program, and we talked about the fact that taking the Houthis off the terrorist watch list happened on about February 6th or 5th, or February 2021. It was one of the first priorities Joe Biden had, and here we are. Tell the audience tonight what's happening in the Red Sea, how it affects us, and why we should care.
Yeah, so the Houthis are a terrorist group in Yemen at the bottom of the peninsula that are funded, trained, equipped by the regime in Iran. So this is all variations on a theme, Kellyanne, whether we're talking about Hamas, whether we're talking about Hezbollah or the Houthis. They've been around, obviously, for quite some time. We follow them. It probably took us, Kellyanne, in the Trump administration, I bet it took us a year to build that designation package because it's a legal document that says this group is a foreign terrorist organization. And here's why. Now, there is a process. You don't have to stay as a state sponsor of terrorism or a FTO, foreign terrorist organization, for in perpetuity. You can get out of it. In fact, in the Trump administration, Sudan went through about a 2-year process with us in order to get out from under that state terrorism sponsor designation that they had. But the point is, Kellyanne, it took 2 years for them to get out of it. And Sudan had to say, yes, we're renouncing terrorism. We don't want to be a state sponsor of terrorism. We're not going to engage in this activity. They had to make many other concessions. The Biden team did not go through that process, Kellyanne, with the Houthis. Instead, they just lifted the FTO designation and they got nothing for it. We should have seen just a few weeks into the administration what terrible negotiators they would be. They didn't get the Houthis to say, you know what, I renounce terrorism. I'm not going to do it anymore. They got nothing for it and then lifted that designation by a political measure, through political means. And now we see this group, of course, engaging in acts of terrorism because that's what the Islamic Republic of Iran pays them to do.
I suppose we should have known then what might happen in Afghanistan, Ukraine, Israel.
Right.
I mean, on Joe Biden's watch, you would think that someone who had been vice president for 8 years, chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in Washington for half a century, would have us on better footing worldwide, but it seems to be one of his greatest vulnerabilities. Morgan, in the few seconds we have left, China, do you take this threat seriously by President Xi that he reportedly said to President Biden, we're going to, quote, reunify Taiwan, which is the different verb that the thesaurus would say reunify actually means invade?
No, you're totally right. We should take it seriously. A lot of people are saying, but Xi Jinping says this all the time in China. That's true. But he had the gall to say it to the president to his face. He also reportedly, Kellyanne, asked President Biden to sign a document that would be released publicly that would sort of say that America agreed to this. Again, these are in the public reports. Biden did refuse to do it. But the problem is that Xi Jinping doesn't think that there's any problem with asking. He thinks it's okay to tell. I mean, that was a threat, right? To say it to Biden, to say, we hope to take Taiwan peacefully, but we're going to do it either way. And to even go as far as to ask for that signed document reportedly from the administration just shows that Xi Jinping feels that he can act brazen with President Biden.
Yes, weakness. Where there is weakness and not strength, that's what bullies do. Morgan Ortagus, thank you so much for joining me tonight.